Hello everyone, this is Laco S, and welcome to another episode of Ace Combat Skins in DCS. So, in this showcase, obviously we have the AV-8B Harrier. We actually have a nice, instead of it being focused on one country this time around, we actually got quite a nice mix of countries to showcase. We pretty much got all the we actually do have all the big strain field players. We have Osean. We have Osean, Yuktobanian, Arusia, Ustio, Belka. So let's get started with them. Starting off with the, we have two of the Osean skins are made by Triplication. The first one here made by Trip is his Osean standard Air Force livery. This is the light. This is like the lighter version. Otherwise, sometimes known as like the quote-unquote daytime version. So we have it's a whiter. It's like a very almost white, very light gray skin. You have a nice little the tip of the tail is a nice blue color. You have the Osean flag emblem. I think that's the emblem. I keep on forgetting. I know that I see a lot of these combat skins. There's two emblems that appear a lot. I need to seriously one of these days look them up, see what they actually are. But anyways, you have one of the Osean Air Force emblems down there. Osean Air Force written nicely on the tail, nice and crisp, nice clean, crisp, and fun times. You have also the Osean Roundel on the wing and on the sides of the jet. No emblem on the front panel. That is a very common thing that a lot of Harriers have, but not on this one. This is more of a It's a nice quote unquote generic Osean skin, but it's still really nice. It's nice, crisp, clean, lots of fun. Lots of fun to use this during the day because there's also a night variant right here. This basically is very similar to the daytime, except it's now in the Harrier's nighttime colors. So you have this almost like very dark blue gray with the roundels. Therefore, the Osean Rondels being the low-vis gray, along with the tip of the tail, the flag, the Osean Air Force emblem, and the lettering also being in that low-vis gray. These are really good standard skins. Like I said, they're not too fancy, but they're actually quite nice. You don't sometimes want a super fancy colored skin. Nice, classy, simple. But the next skin is pretty much the exact opposite of this. So, Trip's next skin is the Osean Thunderers. It is VMA 264. And you can see their squadron emblem right on that front panel where a lot of real-life Harrier squadrons have their squadron emblem. Nice, bold, colorful thing down there. And you also have the Osean emblems also in high-vis colors. You also have what looks like to be invasion stripes on the top of the wing, which look really nice. Osean Marines. Also, I do believe that the O2, that might be a dynamic abort number, not 100% certain. Because also that other Harrier down there, that has 09, but I'll have to play around with it a bit more to figure that one out. Usually you can tell if they're dynamic port numbers on static objects like these, if they increment. But anyways, other than that, I should probably mention, let's go over here where the light hits it a little bit better. You have this, again, you sort of have like the darker Osean scheme. You sort of have that dark blue-gray, which looks really nice on the Harrier. And on the tail, you have sort of this, it's a bit faded, but it's a bit more of this metallic faded blue with that yellow lightning bolt, and it really pops. I really like how the tail is a slightly different blue than the actual base of the aircraft. But it's not... You do have to look at it a bit to realize it is a different shade, but even when you don't realize it still has a very nice faint popping effect to the actual visuals of this aircraft. But this is actually the Thunderer's standard skin. There's also a camouflage version of the skin, which kind of takes inspiration from British Harriers and other European theater aircraft, with a light gray base tone and this dark, it's not quite olive drab, but it's a shade darker than an olive drab for its camouflage coating. Again, you also have the bright Osean roundels, squadron emblem on the nose. Again, you have the same tail as before, that nice blue color with the yellow lightning bolt. Also, VMA 264 is written on the fuselage, which is a nice detail. Also, on this one, of note, you have these two invasion stripes, and these are actual in like World War II D-Day invasion stripes on the actual wings, on the wing tips, but in the middle of the wings, and that's actually a really nice detail. I actually really find that a cool aesthetic on this Harrier. So, jumping around a little bit, we're going to jump over to this Harrier. We're going now to the Wardog skin. So, there actually is a Wardog themed skin for the Harrier, and this one's made by AWACS Bandog. It is interesting because the Harrier has, I don't think the Harrier's been in an Ace Combat game. It was definitely not in 4, 5, 0, or 7. So it's actually kind of a very it's very unique because this is a Wardog skin that's not based off an aircraft that Wardog Squadron would have flown, but it's still nice and it's still cool because you still get this tail. Let's go over the rest of the aircraft first real quick. Which really there isn't much to go over because it is very much a standard Harrier gray on the base. You still have those bright full color Osean roundels on the wings, on the wing and the air intakes. There is no squadron emblem on the nose. Looks like that's the general Osean Air Command emblem though. But on the tail you have the Wardog Squadron, and this tail is very much inspired by the F-14A skin that Wardog Squadron used, where you have which in itself is based off of the Jolly Roger skin, the Jolly Roger's tail, where you have it's a black tail, yellow tip, and even actually this lower stabilizer on the belly of the aircraft is also painted black with yellow, and I think that's a really cool touch that you actually can see the like the tail assembly up here and then down there have the same color. Other than that, you have the Wardog emblem of the Wardog, and below that you have NZ, which is, I believe, Sandpoint's base code. And you also have OMDF and nice little faint lettering above the flare countermeasure dispensers. I would say flare dispensers, but I'm quite sure you can use them for both flares and chaff in the Harrier. So, moving on, so that we're going to swap over here now to the game back on sort of track, as we have a Huey about ready to land. We actually have this is the Ustio Air Force. AWACS Bandog made this one too. This is the 3rd Osean Volunteer Squadron Eagles. And this is a really cool skin because you have a black tail, which is unique among Harriers. You also have this blue line detail, which is really cool. And the top of the tail is also that same shade of blue. You have a pretty nice big eagle stencil on either side, which is also really cool. And the really cool thing that I love about this skin is you also have this like desert camo. So sort of like a lot of in the previous video I did on the A10C, you sort of had a lot of skins where you had like a very light sand color and more of a dark, like burnt umber sand color. And they use this, and AWACS Bandog uses this, kind of like those two colors, to make a really cool desert Harrier theme. Whereas I don't believe they ever did the Harrier in this camo in real life. Instead, I think they just used like that the daytime light coloration for the Harrier and ran an actual combat use. But this is a really cool skin to have, especially if you're flying any desert maps. And I do believe in Ace Combat 0, where Ustio is the main country you're flying for, I do believe there is a desert. There's like 1 or 2 desert maps, so it's actually not completely out of left field that they would actually have a squadron that at least has one desert skin. And before I go, quick other details before I miss them. Ustio on the top of the thing, I think those are dynamic port numbers. You have Ustio Roundel on the wing and on the two sides, like most of the other aircraft, and it has Ustio Air Force written on the right wing, which is pretty neat. No idea what OV is. I don't know. I don't think Ustio had a carrier, so I'm not quite sure what that is. I don't know if there's any airbase code with that either. Doesn't make much sense. Oh, and as always, squadron emblem on the nose. So, next squadron, we're going to Ustio's opponent in Ace Combat Zero, Belka. So this is again, sort of going off the general idea of Belka being the Germany stand-in in the Ace Combat universe. You have the 9th Tactical Fighter Squadron Eviscerators by Billy the Kid. And he created this very German, it's very much a German dark gray, I would say, because it's sort of that dark gray with a little bit of green mixed in. You have the Belkin roundels on both wingtips and on the side in front of the front jet jump nozzles. And going on this side so you get a better view of this. You can get a better view of that, like, it's very much that German green gray that I think that pops up quite often in their some of their camo schemes and paint and military hardware, and you can definitely see that. And you can also see it has a yellow tip of its tail. Again, you see the Belkin roundel, and then you have the squadron emblem, this time on the tail with Belkin Air Force written down below. So it's a really, again, it's not a super flashy Ace Combat skin, but it's really cool that you're getting more of like, okay, this is like more of a German style skin where it's like this like kind of emeraldy green dark gray mix. Now going over to Erusia, and yes, I know there's that one in the back. We'll get to that one shortly. But first, we're going to take care of the 64th Tactical Fighter Squadron Rainy Wolves, also done by Billy the Kid. This one's really cool because this is like a very British style, where again you have sort of the light gray base coat, and it looks like they have like more of an olive drab, like a darker olive drab paint on top of it for like this molted camouflage. So it's really cool. It also matches. It also I think really meshes well with the bright round Rouge Rondel. So again, both sides of the intake. No squadron marking on the nose on this one either, but you still have that bright Rouge roundel on either side near the jump jets and on the wings. And the tail of this one's also pretty cool because this one has a rail, a red. The top of the tail is red, as well as the actual rudder of the aircraft is red. And you have the Erusian emblem, roundel on the tip of also towards the tip. And then you also have the Erusian squadron emblem down near the base around Erusian Air Force. And otherwise, this is a pretty, like I said, pretty cool skin. It's really cool for, I like using this on like rainy days on, or like forested maps or forested parts of the world. Just because it's a really cool foresty camouflage. But we can't talk about Erusia and not talk about everyone's favorite meme lord and his squadron. So, this one is done by Lego Dude 9, and it's the SAC Squadron of the Alicorn. So, this is sort of a what if. I don't know. I have to actually, believe it or not, get the DLC for Ace Combat 7. I think life and overtime hit me pretty hard after when the DLC for that hit. So I kind of one of those things like, oh, I'll get to it eventually, and forgot. So I'll have to get that DLC one day and play it through. But apparently, all I know is that there's a lot of memes about the Alicorn and its role in the plot and stuff. But anyways, this skin is based off of the Alicorn Squadrons, because I have seen artwork of the squadrons, and you can definitely see there's the Erusian roundels on both wings. The base is a very dark gray. But the thing I actually like about this skin, and I actually do really love this skin it's starting to grow on me, is that you have the Erusian roundel in white on the tail, but the tail is sort of this two-tone red and white. And it's really nice because you have the white Alicorn emblem also on the tail. So it's a very, for as plain as the majority of this skin is, the fact that you actually have this really bright tail is really cool. And lastly, before I forget anything else, we have this skin. Now this is a very unique skin. This is the Yuktobanian Red Guard skin by Cosmonaut 80. Now I believe Cosmonaut 80 was part of a group that was trying to do sort of a Yuktobania Osean conflict server, where it was basically sort of like one side would be Yuktobania, another side would be Osean, and basically it would be kind of like a conflict in that it'd be kind of like a war between the two sides. Not quite sure what happened to that server or that project. It's been a while. There's so much stuff going on in DCS and multiplayer, it's hard to keep track of. But Cosmonaut 80 did release a whole lot of Yuktobanian skins. And this one is really cool. I believe this is based off of, I want to say, the Yak 38 was the Russian VTOL. I know that there was a one of the Russian VTOLs for their carrier-based programs was a Yak model, and I think it was a Yak model in the 30s. So I'm pretty confident. I want to say it's the Yak 38 was the VTOL, was the Russian VTOL jet that they used for I think their first experimentations in carrier-based aircraft. But regardless, this is based off of that, where you actually have a very unique coloration. It's sort of that Russian blue top half of the aircraft, where it's sort of like that deep blue. Lots of red lettering, which is pretty cool. Yuktobanian markings on the wings and on the tail, as well as some Yuktobanian style markings on the front, with very much what looks like to be the Russian fleet flag. Where they changed that up they changed up the colors on that to make it like a Yuktobanian fleet flag, which is cool. You have one of like the like a Russian, like, you know, like a Russian, a very Russian themed emblem right there, which is also really cool. I forget because I think it might be like a guard regiment. I think I need to do more research on like the Soviet doctrine and emblems and iconography and stuff, but I'm pretty certain like the golden, let's see if I can get a better, it's not letting me. I'm pretty certain that the yellow or golden victory wreath with a flag, that's very iconic of guard regiments in World War II for the Soviet Union. So I'll have to look into that a bit more one of these days. But it's actually pretty cool to have something like that in here. But also what's really cool is that, unlike most other aircraft, the bottom is painted just like almost neon green. I want to say it's like very much like almost like a plant green, like a neon green bottom. I know it's not that exactly, but it's really cool. This two-tone color is really cool, and it's also pretty unique for like a Russian aircraft skin to have something like this that's a bit more realistic to what the naval skins are like. And also, I like the Russian on the tail. I think that matches up with other Russian naval aviation. I'm not 100% certain, but it's pretty cool. And also, the tip of the tail, I love how it's the Yuktobanian deer with that little bit of gold detail, a little bit of the red. That's pretty awesome. This is a really cool skin. If you want something that's very much Russian inspired, but not nothing like, but also not too plain, this is a really cool option. And with that, we're done with all the Harrier skins. I will again, as always, put the links to these skins in the description down below. Annotations also should have them. And until next time, this is Loco S signing out. And hopefully next time we'll actually be getting to do the F5 Eve skins. Until then, see you around.